Anyway, while we're watching here, I repeat myself on the park. I'll put it here a little bit. It's like a 2-minute video, so it's not very long. With some impressions of my first visit. Again, the park is on the island of Montreal on the north end tip, and it's about 25 kilometers from downtown. You can get there by bike, the way I got in summer, here on the left side up, or you can take public transportation, Metro Green Line to Honoré, end station Honoré Bourgoin, which is here. You can see that on the little on the side, and then you go up here all the way up till by bus till the park. The entrance, I take this bus stop here, I leave here the bus and walk over to enter. You have ponds here and you have ponds on the other side. You have here a large forest area and you have a forest area on the other side, but you also have prairie here. I show photos afterwards again. And you have prairie here and on top. So you have here deers, but how do you call animals which are more shy than and usually don't see downtown. You see here, you have coyote, you have foxes, you have deers, you have the how do you call green heron I saw here. So yeah, it's a really high variety of species. I will go now through the different seasons. Let me see if I have something more to show in the video from the videos. I have here an impression. Let's take here the spring. This one is little spring impressions of small ducks. You can see here. This is a gadwall, and these are the ducklings of a gadwall. The gadwall looks very similar to the female Maillard, but once you see it, it's clearly a differential. It's I look on the pattern they have here in front. They also significantly larger. I have now, afterwards I will show some photos of gadwall to that it's easier to differentiate from the Maillard. We have a reason why I go here is because of frogs. Let me try to get here the sound, because this one is an original recording and explains. This is a very short video. A green frog call. Now, I have different recordings of green frog call, but I remember them having heard with this oink in kind of a undeterminable sequence. That means like there can be a few seconds, a few minutes, up to 10 minutes between the different calls. And for me, it was always the impression, oh, that's how they call. But for recording, it's really tedious because you have to sit there, the camera is running, you have it on the frog, and I'm sure that when you start recording, he will not call. He will not call for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. As soon, okay, I move on, I shut down the camera, I start to think about removing my equipment, my gear, to go to another spot, bang, and okay, maybe now, and you start recording again, and it happens. So this one is 16 seconds recording. It's a video on my YouTube channel, and it's these two calls, nothing more. Let me see, you should be able to hear that. So let me see if I find the other one. the longer recording I have from this animal. No, I don't have it here downloaded. It's in my YouTube channel, because the green frog has a different type of calls. This is one, but they has a different one which is longer, sounds. And I will show it on another stream. But that is, when I hear this one, I'm sure there are green frogs around. I'm just looking for them. Now, why I know it's a green frog and not a bullfrog, because they look very similar, is because of the crest here. You see here on the back? Yes, this crest. The bullfrog doesn't have this crest here. It has a crest, but it runs then down here on the side and not on the back. What else? There's another frog, and in not on my first visit, on a second visit or third visit in winter, or I have to say early spring, in April, I heard frogs calling from very far away. It was very, very loud. And I was wondering what it is, and I walked towards that sound. And when I arrived at the pond, which still was half frozen, half was without ice anymore. And there were hundreds of frogs making a spectacular ambient sound. So it was really strong. I will show you how this sounds, but first let me show you the photos I take then. Was at the beginning here. So this one was photos I took at that occasion. It was my first time I saw this frog. It's a wood frog. And there were hundreds in this little pond. It's a very small pond. I took this one, I took this one. And at that point, at that time, I was not recording. So I went back on several occasions, now prepared to record the call, and I was never lucky until this spring. This spring, I arrived there I can tell you exactly the date, because this one was on 19th of April. And when I came back this year and was able to record it again, was here with this snake, was 15th of April. So it's in mid-April, and it's a very short period of time. It's like a week, maximum a week, that these frogs come out, they mate, they lay their eggs, and then they disperse into the forest, and you don't see them anymore. You don't hear them anymore. So you really have to time the visit in the park when you want to see the wood frog in this time of the year, in this crowd of frogs. So here now my recording. Let me see, still on desktop audio. You should hear it. So just short, there's like this high-pitched tone on the back. That's the spring peeper. The spring peeper is a frog that's like this size here, very small. This one is like hand size, and the one you hear on the back is this size. He's very loud, so loud that you actually kind of need protection for the ear, because when you get too close, you may damage your hearing, or at least affect hearing temporarily. It's a very loud song. And what you hear in the lower frequency, this kind of almost talking of dogs. This is the frog, the wood frog, the hundreds of wood frogs in this pond. You hear in the back, tick, tick, tick. That's the spring peeper. So that's one of the reasons I go to this park to record, to take photos and record wood frogs, but just in that particular week, around 15th of April. And I am not sure, because many years I thought I was around the same time of the year. I didn't saw them. Maybe sometimes it delays or it's earlier based on how the temperature, the average temperature in that time of the year is. But I have now 15th and 19th, so that's the window I will go next year to see if they are there. I hope maybe I see you there at this time of the year. It's a spectacle. I mean, you see all these many frogs there in this pond. It's interesting to watch. But it's loud, so be prepared on that. On the same visit, I saw this fantastic animal. Let me remove here the sound from this one. It's music, no original sound. That's a garter snake. Garter snake I saw here, but I saw it also in other parks, so it's not exclusively in this park. I saw it in Parc, the one I presented a few days ago. I saw it in confirmed views in Parc Bernard-Landry, Laval. So it's not the only place, but the only time of the year I see it is actually again in April, when they wake up and are looking for food. And I think they are kind of desperate. They really need to eat something. So they are a bit less protective of their own. And because of the lack of vegetation, you can see them easily. So that's why I think that in April is also a good time to see snakes. Now, I have here a spectacular photo of another snake, which is actually endangered species. And I saw that here, thick-eyed brown snake. I saw this one also in the same park, and on the way in here on the map, I can show you when I entered here. So I was like, I get from the bus, I walk in, and it was around in this area. I saw it, I think, a little bit earlier, even here. First, it's a garter snake. Let's take a photo. But then when I got closer, and here I'm like 1 meter away from the snake with my macro lens. So I'm actually very close to the animal. I realized that's not a garter snake. It's smaller and it's just brown. It's no yellow stripes. So it's a different species, and it's rarely seen because of endangered in the area. Anyway, let's move on to more videos. So we had the frogs. It's obviously it's a squirrel, but here squirrels we have all around the place, but here we have this other species. This is a more shy squirrel, which I see in Jardin de Botanique and in this park, but I don't see it in the other parks like Parc or Bernard-Landry. It's a little bit smaller, and here in spring this individual was not very shy, so it allowed me to get like at 2 to 5 meters distance to take some recordings while the animal is searching for food deposited a year ago or some fresh food. I mean, squirrels are fantastic animals. They are rodents, and if they invade your house or the roof of your house, you don't really like them, but they are funny animals to watch. So I always like them, and also to see them. And also one thing is guaranteed. I mean, I go many times into parks, and in a lot of occasions I don't see anything. I mean, some birds far away or so, but I always see a squirrel close, and I always will take some pictures of a squirrel close. There's another species that I always see, and that's the gull, the ring-billed gull. There's one species that's in almost every park on every visit. You can watch that bird species. Here we have this also spring. Oh, let me remove the sound. You hear in the back the real strong spring peeper making sounds, strong sound. So this chipmunk is they call it here in Quebec, they call it Swiss in French pronunciation. So it is also rodent. Funny, it's less frequently I see them, but I think they get fed in that park. So that's why I had the opportunity to record a short sequence of this species. Is you have to say I never feed any animals, not for fun and not because I want to attract them for a recording. I record if I'm able to get close, but I never fed them. But you see there's some food here on the ground, but it actually doesn't like the food. It looks like maize corn, and someone let that for birds, but this the chipmunk doesn't like that. It looks for something different. I don't know what he's looking for, but definitely not for this maize corn. Let's see if we have some other videos. We already had. So the deers I have here, this is a recording in summer, and it's on this side here, an adult here on this side. Just try to find a place. There's like an installation where you can observe on the pond and swamp, and it has a kind of a shield so the animals shouldn't see you. And from there I took this recording from grazing white-tailed deer, quite a big animal. So yeah, impressive. I have another recording which is a little bit older, and that's in winter. And you see, I go back to the other videos afterwards, but here you see how they look in winter. They are really fluffy and beautiful. And obviously that's why they have to protect the trees when they want to recover the forest, because the deers go through those and eat the remaining growing part of the plants while grazing in winter. So they make this area to protect young trees from being destroyed by the deers. There are many deers. I counted up to 20 in a group in spring. This is in winter. I was also surprised. They asked me how do they get here, because I knew that the deers are in this area. Let me move here the map a little bit more centric. So here on the right side we have here is Parc de Boucherville. I know deers are here. I assume that they never was here. I assume they're also here. And my question is how they get from here over, and then I got to explain that they are actually very good swimmers, so they can swim over the rivers. I have to say here the river may be frozen in winter, but usually it's not. So yeah, they have to swim if they want to go from one side to the other. But obviously they don't have to wait on winter to cross over. They can do that in any time of the year because they are quite well a good swimmer. So they can get up here and then across. And here they have this crossing here is actually made for deers. It's a wide bridge. And the deers, they stay here in the forest, and they can cross over here, and then they can walk along the highway up to the other area here on top. So that's my understanding, that this crossing is actually to expand the area for the deers. Also, if they want to move from this side to the other side by swimming over the river, they can do that. So let's go to a few photos. I already, so this is a summer photo. June, no, that's not yet summer. Summer starts at 21st of June. So this is late spring. Autumn, this is immediately spring start, but you see that's how it looks here in spring. There's nothing growing at this time of year. Sometimes you even have snow. This is a January picture with the snow from the golf course. And here we have a summer. That's when I actually took the video I showed you at the beginning. Then for species photos, I already mentioned many of them. Obviously, you have Canada goose, snakes, black-crowned night heron was flying over me, and I was able to take a photo, not a very good one. But usually I see them while they are fishing along a river, and here I caught one flying over me. Then we have many different flowers. Well, flowers that prefer forests, flowers on prairie, flowers along the bushes, swamp. So it's for microphotography, it's also a good place. Here we have the green heron. That's my first and only sighting of a green heron. It happened here in this area. Here on there's like a little crossing, and this was here on the right side. Also a very attractive animal. I like it a lot. Special coloring, but also shy, so not easy to see these species. You have to be patient with many of those. Chipmunk, here we have my first American red squirrel taken. The chickadees. You obviously also have birds of prey, like the red-shouldered hawk. It was very far away, so I'm not 100% sure if it's a red-shouldered hawk. It's also kind of, because of the cropping and enlarging, it kind of looks artificial, this shot. So, but you have them. I also saw a Cooper's hawk. The red-shouldered hawk prefers to stay on top of the trees, and the Cooper's hawk, I don't know if I published a photo or here. No. I can show you. Actually, in the slideshow, in the quiz, I showed at the beginning, there is also a Cooper's hawk photo in it. This one here. These prefer to sit on branches lower, and then they fly within the forest. So that's usually the difference between. They also look quite different, so it's not very difficult to differentiate those two. The red-shouldered has some species which are very similar, but the Cooper's hawk and the red-shouldered, those two you can differentiate very good. The problem with the Cooper's hawk is there's another species which looks very similar, and I always have my doubt if it's a Cooper's hawk or if it's the other one. The other one is, let me see, the name is the sharp-finned hawk. Here we have another Cooper's hawk. I usually say when I see it here, it's a Cooper's hawk because of this band here on the back, and the head should be more like triangle. No, not triangle. It's more like a square and not round. But that's very difficult to see on the photo because the way how you look at it, how the head moves, you see it better or not so good. So let's go here back to Pointe au Prairies. Woodpeckers, all sorts of woodpeckers, and some smaller grasshoppers. So I would say spring, summer, autumn is good for any type of animal photography, wildlife photography, and microphotography. In winter, you still have plenty of species to see, but obviously microphotography is not so interesting. But in winter, I would go there. I go there to record the deers, to record woodpeckers, and maybe a Cooper's hawk or owls. Now, once I went up here, that was in deep winter, up here in this area, because I got told that here we have owls. I don't recall which owl they told me you could see here, so I went all up here taken the bus, walked up here, and spent here like 2 hours looking for the owls. Obviously, they were not there. So, but it's supposed to have also owls in these different areas. But I have personally never saw one. And that's particularly in winter a place, something to look for, because you have a better visibility and your chance to see one is higher in winter. So all 4 seasons. The only point when I go, I do some park ranking. Try to get, this one is not the right place to show you my rankings. I have here all the parks near on island of Montreal and around, and I do some of my personal ranking of these parks. And the criteria are access. If it's public transportation, the park can be accessed by public transportation, species variety, and habitats and seasonality. And the third criteria is are there opportunities to get good photos? Can I get close to a surface, water surface, close to the animals, yes or no? And we have here is the Parc Pointe. Access has a 0 because yes, it is accessible, public transportation, at least one side, but it's really far away. It takes for me more than an hour to get there. So that's not a 1, it remains neutral. Variety is obviously is a 1 because you have so many different species in every time of the year. And photo opportunity because it's not very popular. It's not that many people are there, and you can get to any pond everywhere. So accessibility for photography is very good. If besides public transportation, it's a great place, and it's one of my favorite places, which I visit frequently. But I would love to visit more frequently, just because it is a little bit too far away. I need a full day available to visit this park. I cannot just half a day or 2 or 3 hours. It's not worth the travel to get there. So, is that everything? Let me repeat with tone now my first recording with some impressions of this park. Which is it? Here, 2014. Let's get that a little bit bigger on the screen. So I was mentioning the Gadwall. So what I wanted to do here shortly is to show you a Gadwall, how I identify them, because I saw in the in the short video showing that there was the how do you call, here we have the Mayar. Mayar we see with these white stripes here, the blue and the white stripe. So I did take some photos of Gadwall this year, and I'm just trying to get a big close-up. So that would be, that's the wrong place to go. It should be here under media. 2022, so that would be, let me see here. No. Here, this would be Gadwall. Because here I think we have both. We have the Gadwall and we have the Mayar here. So this is a couple of Gadwall. What I look at is, this is the wrong command. Here, you see this pattern here. That's very different. Although from far the color looks very similar, the pattern is completely different, which allows me to separate those two. Now here, this is a male. I assume that this is a male and the female. And usually, I mean, mostly I see the female. And I see here now it is like this reddish part. I was not aware of it. Here we have another power demonstration of this male chasing away this female Mayar. There was kind of a struggle here. Now you see here very good. Kind of a dramatic happening. Here the couple is chasing away a Mayar female. Ganging up because they both were chasing it. I'm not aware that here this one is actually quite a sharp image of this male. You see here the pattern, and then you compare it here with the pattern from the Mayar. It's different. So when you compare these two, that's the two you see, they are out of focus, but kind of get impression. You recognize, oh, this is a different species. Although they are, when you ask me to express what is my cue to identify Gadwall versus female Mayar, it would be difficult for me to say exactly. It's just, I see them, you know, it's a Gadwall or it's a female Mayar. But now I would say something like, look at the pattern of a gray, dark gray brown on the breast, in the breast area, which is finer in the Gadwall than it is on the Mayar. But that's kind of difficult to communicate. So if someone can come up with clear cue, ID cues, would be happy to update my page about how to identify this species. But whenever I see, it's quite obvious. Here we have a little bit closer. It's a pity that it was a bit too far away. So it's not really, I mentioned in the past that when I take photos, I love if the animal, the subject, covers at least 1/6, 1/9 of the space. So you cut here in three, and then here also in 2 lines. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if the animal covers like this space, I can work with it. But here it's obviously too far away, too small. Sometimes when you have a group, some action, it's possible. But these are not really attractive shots in. So that's why they didn't make anywhere. And now here on the video to show how to ID. This was my visit on the 10th of April with wood frog sighting. Now on the first visit, because I have here like 10 and 19th, no, 15th, 10th, 15, this is 15. So this was the one where I did the recording. Here I was not in Parc, this was another park. This is what was this one? 10th of Parc. Where was I? 23rd. Okay, that's personal. Let's move. So 30th, that was in, again, Parc, I assume. Definitively. Here is a painted turtle. I always love the changes that happening during April, because it's not yet that the green shows up. It's actually the vegetation explosion, I always call it vegetation explosion, actually happens in May, early May, and not in April. In April you have all these animals that get out of whatever state they were during winter. They arrive here from their migration, or they get out of the mud like the turtles or the snakes. They get active or more active because there is more food available. You see, this life already starts. You have really the first flowers, which usually are flowers that are growing out of their roots, and they are not like flowers later in the season. So you have like these colts root is the first flower you usually see. Then you have the white, that's the let me see what this is. By the way, you can in my website, when you look at the photos, you can give in it's flowers, white, and then you get here, let me see, Canada anemone. That's in June. No, it's bloodroot. This is the one. That's the one early. This one appears later. So it's the bloodroot. Or this is the yellow, so you can look for yellow. When you write it correctly, you will get the result. The yellow trout lily. These are the early flowers. There's also the trillium, white trillium, and the red trillium, which appear very early. So you have like these flower spots appearing in the forest. You have these animals arriving, waking up, more activity. This is during April. The temperature always gets already gets some in a range you can survive going out, but it's the nature explosion doesn't yet start with this all this vegetation, leaves getting green. Is I completely agree. May and June are also exciting, but the characteristic of the parks change completely from April to May and from May to June. Each one has his attractive characteristics. So I liked all of them, but in particular April, also because it's kind of the month where you already expect spring to be here, but it's not yet really here, but there are already signs of spring arriving. Okay. So there was no sound at the beginning. I'm really sorry about that. I will see if I can cut that out, just because it was really stupid that this happened. But anyway, what I want to do now is to resolve my quiz. And for that, we go to the slideshow we used today. Now, I kind of afterwards, when I looked for the photos, I was considering there may be different solutions for this one. But I had one in particular in mind, so I explained which photo from my selection doesn't fit. So here we have the Eastern Screech Owl, Parc Agrignon. This is the Cooper's Park, Parc Mont-Royal. This one is a bald eagle, young. Juvenile bald eagle, photo taken in Newfoundland. It was on a ridge, the bird was flying down. I was just getting up, it was like 10 meters away, really big bird. Osprey, I don't recall exactly where this is. I assume it's in Tadoussac. Most probably, it's 2018. I was in Tadoussac in May, so could fit the date. This is a Merlin falcon taken from my balcony. It was eating a squirrel in the tree in front. This is a bald eagle, again juvenile. Bald eagle recognizable pattern on the wing below, juvenile, because his head is not yet white. I was hoping it's a golden eagle, but this is Port-Neuf-sur-Mer. It's close to the sea. Usually you have the bald eagles, and then when you go more inland, then you start to see a golden eagle. But this one is not a golden eagle, unfortunately. Would have been a new species. Anyway, impressive bird, really big. This is cropped out, so I was kind of far away. I had a couple of shots, all of them were blurry. This is the only one which kind of allows me to identify the species, but not really to publish the photo. Eastern screech owl again. Merlin falcon again. This one is taken near Rapids, Parc de Rapide. Then we have here, this is the turkey vulture circling around, taken, I'm pretty sure, Parc Mont-Royal or Belvedere Outremont. This is one of the few where I'm able to see the reddish head, because usually you take the photo against the sky is bright, then the exposure of the body is kind of not so good, and you cannot get out the different colors. So here it was possible, you see the red head. This one is peregrine falcon, also taken Belvedere Outremont. It's a two. They were kind of playing around there in the air. They were young, I think it was young juveniles. And then here we have the red kite. The red kite is taken in Switzerland. So the idea of this quiz was, I show here 10 photos of birds of prey from Quebec or Atlantic Canada, and one from Europe, Switzerland, my home country. So this one was my choice. But you can say, okay, these are all hunting birds, and then we have the turkey vulture, which is not a hunting bird. It's one that eats dead animals. So that would be also a possible solution for which slide doesn't match the other ones. But then you also have, no, that won't really work. You have the one from Newfoundland shot. And I purposely put in two from the eastern screech owl just to make sure that it's not owl versus not owl. So that will be maybe a quiz in the near future. Anyway, this one is a very difficult one because you need to know which bird this is to identify this as one not fitting the others. And for someone grown up in Switzerland, the red kite is familiar. It's all over the place, a very common bird. And but for someone not born or grown up in Switzerland, may have been too difficult to resolve. So I'm sorry for that. I make sure that my quiz for tomorrow will be easier. So I hope to see you tomorrow, and I'd make a real strong effort without sound error and sound issues at the beginning. So thank you very much for your time. I wish you a wonderful evening.